New details emerged today in the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting trial, including an alternate plan to attack the Jewish Community Center in Squirrel Hill.
This came in cross-examination of a defense witness testifying about the mental health of the defendant. Andy Sheehan has more from the federal courthouse.
The attack on the synagogue was months in the planning. The defendant focused on the details of killing the most people as possible. A sign, the prosecution says, that he was not mentally ill, but motivated by hate. On the morning of October 27, 2018, Robert Bowers considered shooting up the Jewish Community Center in Squirrel Hill, but after driving by, decided to attack the Tree of Life Synagogue instead. In the days and months leading up to the attack, Bowers also considered locking the doors of the synagogue and gassing the people inside, but rejected that plan as well. These were several new details of Bowers' planning that emerged during the cross-examination of a defense witness, Dr. Richard Rogers, who conducted 4 interviews with Bowers after the massacre. Rogers, who was called by the defense to testify about Bowers' mental state, told the jury Bowers was schizophrenic and delusional, acting on a wild conspiracy theory that Jews were bringing immigrant invaders into the country to kill white children. Quote, he expressed with absolute conviction that these things were happening and were continuing to happen, that the world of white people as we know it is going to disappear. We need to put an end to this now. But the prosecution has maintained that Bowers acted not out of mental illness but out of hate. U.S. Attorney Eric Olshan said the beliefs are held by many white supremacists and not necessarily signs of schizophrenia, asking Rogers, quote, are you saying all of these people who hold these beliefs are delusional? In the course of their interviews, Bowers told Rogers about his months of planning the attack. Olshan focused on those details and how Bowers took pains to cover his tracks, including a program to automatically wipe his computer after the attack, citing this attention to detail as a sign of Bowers' mental competence. Instead, Olshan focused on Bowers' hate. Rogers said Bowers laughed when he told him he parked in a handicapped spot outside the synagogue before the massacre. And Bowers told him he was pleased with his actions, but a bit disappointed he hadn't killed more people. He killed 11 people, which he called a Yiddish dozen. Olshan asked, is that a common trope about Jewish people being cheap? I believe it is, Rogers says. Was he laughing when he said this to you, Olshan asked. He often had a small smile on his face. Now, tomorrow, the defense is expected to wrap up this part of the trial called the eligibility phase. The jury will then vote on whether Bowers is eligible for the death penalty. Reporting at the U.S. Courthouse downtown, Andy Sheehan, KDKA News.